So, ladies and gentlemen, add this to the ever expanding list of chronicles why I utterly despise and detest streamers. These are the most cowardly, superficial, brain dead, left wing, zombified losers I've ever seen. I cannot even begin to tell you the frustration with watching somebody like the Act Man come out with a statement like this, which I disagree with. But if he were to remain consistent, I could say, I don't agree with you, but at the bare minimum, at least you stand for something. It may not be anything I want to stand with, but at least you're consistent. But no, this post here, September 3rd, 2023, gorilla-shaped man on the verge of crying because Starfield lets you pick pronouns at the start of the game and then it's never brought up again. Somebody please shoot this guy with a bear tranquilizer. He's going to attack somebody. This is in response to this guy saying, I've had enough. I've had enough of the encroachment of wokeness. I don't like this ideology. I don't want it into my game. And he was very vocal, very vociferous. He was very clear. This is what I believe. I'm tired of this. And the Act Man responds in this way. Well, fast forward to today. Actually, this is March 3rd. So this is yesterday. Let's take a look. So I started looking into Sweet Baby Inc. stuff, and I cannot fathom why game studios would hire a narrative consultant group. Isn't that what the lead writers are for? Why not just hire a better writing team and keep it in-house? LMAO. So they consult this firm to basically get stuff, to get a better social credit score with hopes of getting more investors. I think I just swallowed my own vomit. I think I just swallowed my own goddamn vomit. When it's convenient, this cockroach scurries out and goes, oh, this is popular. Let me get on board. Let me get down with this. But when it was popular to shit on this guy, who made a valid point, who was the first to the conversation, you had some very harsh words. You didn't stand behind this guy because none of your other streamer friends did. This is why I can't even begin to describe how much I've despised the culture around streaming. From people who I don't think are on the extreme end, like Moist Critical, or even sometimes has been cold, but people like Pokimane and definitely Hassan, and a lot of these people, they're all snakes. Ludwig, all of these people, it just infuriates me because they're all part of this group. And they don't have the courage to go out on their own or do something brave or innovative. Everything is this sort of left-wing clique bubble where everyone has to sort of get along and go along, and it is obnoxious. Because when this wasn't popular, when shitting on Sweet Baby Inc. wasn't popular, this guy had a completely different attitude. This guy went out of his way to not just insult, but to say that this guy should be shot with a bear tranquilizer. Like, he went above and beyond to make it abundantly clear that he is against everything that guy stood for. That this guy is crying, he's a gorilla man baby, whatever pejorative that these losers, these Redditors that ascended, basically, whatever these guys have to say in the moment that they think is popular, fine. Because in that moment, that guy was getting absolutely shit on by streamers. Like, look at this guy being passionate and being sick and tired of this thing that's been going on for years. But then you fast forward to today. This one is actually from today. So they consult this firm basically to get a better social credit score. People have been talking about this stuff for years. And the way that people like the Act Man and Moist Critical and Hassan is to treat it as, you're a crazy conspiracy theorist. You're nuts. This doesn't happen. It's not a big deal. They gaslight you over and over and over and over again. And then, when there is a moment where it becomes convenient and popular to do so, they then come out and say, man, I really want to vomit at all this stuff this company has been injecting in for years. Years. This guy, I really want to know his name. Heel versus Babyface. So maybe he's like a wrestling channel. I think I've heard of this guy, but I've never watched any of his content. Heel versus Babyface. That's, if you're a wrestling channel, that's a phenomenal name. But here's the deal. This comment. Gorilla-shaped man on the verge of crying because Starfield lets you pick pronouns at the start of the game and then never brings them up again. The fact that there are pronouns in a game at all is a problem. Why is it a problem? Well, it's a problem because pronouns are part of a delusional cult, their philosophy. And it has a lot of other tendrils rather than just this one thing. This is what a lot of surface level, shallow thinkers often come to. Well, what's the big deal? It's just this one thing. No, it's an accumulation of things. It's one thing and then one more thing and then one more thing and one more thing and one more thing and one more thing until we're at the point where we are. But let me just explain this to you. People like this guy, they exist in this content creator echo chamber, this bubble, where what is popular is right. And anyone outside of that is some terrible bad guy who just blew in from a stupid town. I mean, they don't have the ability to really make content on their own. Usually it's this human centipede of content creation. It's one person covers a topic and then they all just sort of try to feed off of the shit of the first one. It's this parasocial, weird, cliquish group, and I just despise every bit of it. Because if any of these people were actually honest or able to speak honestly and openly and be at least a little bit more courageous, they would come out and be the trendsetters. But they're never the trendsetters. They're never the trendsetters. Asmongold does a video on localizers being pieces of human garbage. Do you know how many years late that is? Do you realize how many years late that is? Vic Mignogna was put through the goddamn meat grinder. That man's life was almost destroyed, if not for the fans. But none of these content creators, none of them talked about it. None of them talk about anything other than what is the pre-approved message of the day. Oh, well, people seem to not like this Sweet Baby Inc. Asmongold did a video on Sweet Baby Inc. and was critical. Okay, so then that's the pre-approved thing, the flavor of the day. I just hate it with every fiber of my being. Because this is the same stuff that this guy would have criticized even a couple months ago if it came from somebody who wasn't in the inner group. So this guy calls Starfield boring. He says he doesn't like pronouns in the game. He doesn't like woke ideology in the game. And this guy comes out with a scathing thing out of nowhere. Because at the time, that is what was acceptable. That was the pre-approved talking point. And when you're a gutless, spineless jellyfish that doesn't have the brain or the balls to think on your own, this is what you do. I don't think I can properly articulate how much I find these people revolting. I find them pathetic. Because there's nothing, really, logistically, there's nothing to stop them from being independent, being on their own. For the most part. There's nothing to stop them from being like, you know what, I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. But if you notice, there's a certain trend, there's a flow. Like the human centipede. One person eats, and then the other person shits, but that person is eating at the same time, and then they shit out content, and that person consumes, and it's an endless cycle. And there were a lot of people that went after this guy, Heels versus Babyface. I remember that. Hassan went after him. A lot of people went after him, and they were making fun of him. Like, this gorilla-shaped man. So, like a physical insult. And he's on the verge of tears. Because he's sick and tired and frustrated that a hobby that he's probably grown up loving is constantly being dumped upon and polluted by these narcissistic scumbags. And I don't know this guy. I mean, there's a comment here saying that he's a lolcow. He could very well be a lolcow. I don't watch his content. But here we have a comment here from Just Gregory. The dude's such a phony. He waits until the crowd says something and then runs to the front and says, yeah. Like, I've been there the whole time. Yes, that is what I genuinely hate. It is disingenuous. These people who are streamers are disingenuous. There is no authenticity to them at all. This person has absolutely no defense for these two positions. This is beyond hypocrisy. This is somebody that doesn't care about what they say. And if they don't care about what they say, then why should you care about what they say? And that's true of all of them, myself included. If there is somebody that you feel is inauthentic, is fake and not real, for the love of God, stop watching them. Stop supporting them. Stop giving them money. Stop giving them your attention. Too many times, people like this are allowed to just say something, as obnoxious as it is. Coming out now? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Virtue signaling now that is popular? Gag me. This is... It's so frustrating. It's the same thing with Moist Critical. Moist Critical has an opportunity to call out some pretty terrible people, and he has, to his credit. EDP 445 and stuff. But he chooses to focus on smaller content creators, smaller channels, smaller people. He doesn't dare criticize like Hassan, who is genuinely one of the most vile, irredeemable, gutless, spineless sacks of human garbage I've ever seen. A guy that is so egotistical that he thinks that his job of sitting his ass in front of a computer, eating and drinking and playing video games and talking about what he wants is a difficult job. A job that he can just say, you know what, guys, I'm turning off the stream for today. I'm going to go and take a nap. That guy thinks that he has a stressful job. It is unbelievable, the hubris of these goddamn streamers, these content creators. It's why I'm never going to be part of the group. I never want to be part of the group. I don't want, people from Moist Critical's audience, they keep telling me, oh, you're just clout chasing. You just want the attention of Charlie. No. I cannot emphasize enough how untrue that is. I don't want his attention. I don't care about his attention. I don't care about his audience's attention. They're idiots. They're vapors, pot-smoking, degenerate losers, or they're kids that are too dumb to know better. But at the end of the day, this is the level of content that people have come to expect from these streamers. That on one hand, you can say this thing and disparage somebody, go after him, rip into him because he's being passionate about something. And then on the other hand, months later, you can come out and say largely the same thing, that you don't like the encroachment of wokeness and these companies into video games. And by the way, this is not the first time this has happened. This has been going on since like before 2013. This was going on in Mass Effect 3 days. So holy shit, ladies and gentlemen. I really needed to do this video as a moment of catharsis to get this off my chest because, oh my God, these streamers are just so... Anyway, thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. If you enjoy the channel, consider subscribing. If you don't enjoy the channel, leave me a negative comment. You know I love those. On that note, I will bid you guys a good day, and I'll see you next time.